Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela. And so, as promised, I'm playing catch up here kind of on my year ahead spread. So tonight it is now April 28th. Yeah, April 28th, 2022. Can't talk, sorry. And, it's about 8:30 at night. Oh, 9 o'clock at night, sorry. And I am doing my March, what cards I drew in my year ahead spread for March. Because I didn't do February or March, and I kind of decided I want to do it this month. And I'm like, well, I have to play catch up and catch up the February and March cards as well. So here we are. So, I've been using, if you tuned in a couple days ago, I've been using the Cesarean Tarot, which is this card, and the Dream Keeper's Tarot for this card. I actually did a year ahead spread at the beginning of the year. And this year I decided to do it a little differently and do it with two different decks. And it's been yielding, I know I've only done 2 months, but it's quite interesting. Because I have a short attention span. I pulled the cards in January and then haven't really looked at them since. When I decided to go ahead and do these videos, because I decided I wasn't going to do it, and then I decided last few days I wanted to do it. It kind of left a void. So I kind of knew what I was kind of helped with the trajectory of my year. And I'm going to say the last couple months have been bang up year already. We're not even halfway through the year. So March is no different. So from the Dream Keeper's Tarot, I drew the moon. And it looks like she's actually talking to a spirit, a skull face, a person. And then she's like half skeleton herself, and then like down here she looks like she's made of flowers, and then she's got this purple glowy dots in her hair, and look, her foot even looks like a skeleton almost. Interesting. And then from the Cesarean Tarot I pulled the World, and it looks like a woman giving birth. The moon phases around her, or about to give birth. She's heavily pregnant. Some nudity going on there, but I want to take a moment this is from two different decks. I pulled the Moon and the World card for the month of March, and both of them are these beautiful blues. There's very beautiful. The only real difference in the coloring is in the World card down here where she's got her feet planted firmly on the ground. Well, one's firmly planted on the ground, it looks like. But I found this very interesting that these two cards have this beautiful blue and like darker tone, dark grayish black almost tones in them. And they're throughout the card. So I found that very interesting that it's like, if we're going to go dark, we're going to go dark. And that's what I'm getting from that. And I'm very thirsty, so I'm taking another drink real quick. So let me just tell you about my March. March was pretty much the same as February. Except in February, my grandmother died. March 7th was her actual birthday. So she died 2 weeks before her birthday. So I was dealing with that. I went to the funeral in February. And I had to deal with seeing my mother, who I don't speak to. We don't really have a relationship. We've never really had a relationship. She was quite abusive, verbally and mentally and physically growing up. So I really have taken a step back from her, because I realize she's never going to change who she is. She's never going to be the mother I need her to be. And I'm never going to be the daughter she needs me to be, which is no one will. So I've cut ties probably about 6 years ago, really. I stopped contacting her. I stopped talking to her because I realized it was better for my sanity to not speak to her than it was to just keep trying and banging my head against that wall. But when my grandmother passed, I went to the funeral. I saw my mother. And I was filled with these weird emotions because seeing my mother cry, this monster that I had been terrified of as a child, she has gotten old. She's gotten gray. She's gotten shorter. I saw her a few years ago at my uncle's funeral, and I lost my mind because I just bawled my head off because I couldn't understand this monster I'd built up in my head for so long, even as a kid, was nothing to me now. And that left a huge gap in my life because I spent so much of my life exhausting myself, hating her. But this time was different because I went in and I went to the funeral and I held her hand and I was there for her. I felt that if I could be anything, I needed to be there for her, so she could grieve her mother, the loss of her mother. And I felt I am the bigger person for that because we don't have a relationship. And so I just found that very interesting and every time she started crying again, I would tear up. And I'm like, it's almost like we do have this cosmic connection with one another, that no matter what she's done to me, she's still my mother. She's still the person that brought me into this world. She's still the person that, I realized later in life that she's also still human. And so I found that very interesting. And then that kind of kicked off March for me of a lot of emotions coming into play. And I got a lot of spreads that I did with memories, childhood memories coming up. And then my aunt sent me a photo. Okay, so I don't even know what I was saying. I had to pause it for a second. My husband got up, left out of the blue, just was like, came running through the living room and left. So I found that very interesting that I was like the adult caring for the grieving child when my mom died, or my grandmother died, for my mother, the person that, one of two people in this whole world that changed who I am, the very fabric of who I am forever. I just found that very interesting. And then it kind of kicked off through March. I actually got some photos that my aunt sent me. I may have got those in April, but it kicked off a lot of childhood memories and a lot of things coming to the forefront. I started having really crazy dreams, and they were all centered around memories as a child. And it was like something was trying to come through because I had not reacted to my mother like I normally react to my mother. I was the grown up. I was the person comforting her, and I was a different person when dealing with her than I normally am. It's almost like it opened up a gate and kicked off a bunch of hidden things, which is what the moon represents. It represents those things that we choose to keep under lock and key, those mental secrets that we tell ourselves in the dark that we don't want anybody else to know, but we wind up starting to believe those secrets at some point, if that makes sense. And even if they're lies, we're telling ourselves. And I found that very interesting that that's the card that was pulled for the month of March. Because there was a lot of emotional baggage that came with the month of March. And my mother's birthday is in March also, which is also the first day of spring. So it kicked off a lot of emotions for me. And then the World card, I find it interesting that it's a dark-haired lady giving birth. Because again, I feel like that is almost like my mother, and it's saying that she gave me the world. She brought me into the world. She brought me here for this, even if nothing else, for this moment. And there's regardless of how horrible she's treated me, there will always be that connection that we have because she brought me into this world. And it sparked a lot of dark stuff that needed to come out. And I find that interesting because she's talking to what looks like a spirit. And that could be like her past self, her dark self, her shadow self, that she's talking to. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So let me look at the Dream Keeper's Tarot book and see what it says here. The Moon. And I feel like I've rambled on, but sorry. When traveling through the dark night of the soul, trust in dreams and intuition rather than the logical mind to be your guide. And what did I just say? Like, that's crazy. I had a lot of dreams during this time. A beautiful woman walks a path of love and pain through the dark night of the soul. A great portion of her dress and even her skin have disappeared, revealing the intricate skeletal bone structure beneath. She is a liminal being, not fully alive and not fully dissolved. And I just got full body chills because I've said for the last several years now, I feel like I'm just walking through the world in a dream state, like not fully alive, but I'm not dead either. Wow. In this raw and exposed state, she is highly receptive, deeply intuitive, and communicating with something far greater than what the conscious mind can conceive. And I remember I had a dream. If you guys look back on my channel, I named it, I did a whole blog on it. It's called the Cesarean Blues. Is a dream I had about having a cesarean birth in the middle of an airport, and the airport was representative of my mediumship abilities. Like I was the airport. I was in charge of departures and arrivals. It's a whole thing. So go back and watch that. It's quite intriguing that this is coming up off of that. Pisces is the astrological sign that rules the moon card. And I'm telling you right now, my mom's birthday is March 20th. She is a Pisces. So this is coming full circle. I have chills again. And its influence could not be more potent or fitting. This is the realm of dreams, the subconscious feeling and intuition. It is a card of psychic abilities and points to those who not only receive messages, but who are also adept at communicating with the beyond. Wow. No longer needing the material assistance of ritual dogma or the esoteric sciences, the communion between themselves and their creator is uninterrupted. They have a direct line and they use it. The moon is the mirror of our mystery, presiding over the emotional realm and the realm of creativity. In my hand is like pins and needles. That's weird. It is reflective, receptive, and is itself a lens that translates the light of the sun into something we can safely gaze at. A fitting metaphor for the artists and poets to whom it has given so much inspiration. We also translate the light of the divine into something more accessible. There's a fine line between inspiration of the divine and utter lunacy, though which the moon also presides over. There's a tendency towards escapism under the moon spell, which could point to an addiction. There's a lot more here. Either a substance abuse problem or maybe a behavioral addiction. These are the negative effects of the moon card, but within them also lies the keys to restoration. Look once more to the image of the card. What was it that left her ruined and in a state of decay? Could it have been a lack of love that nearly destroyed her? Wow! More specifically, not having a love object, nobody to give her love and affection to. Yet when Our Lady of Sorrows here found the moon to pour her love into, it mirrored the love back, became her salvation, and brought her back to life. Wow. Divinatory message. When the moon card appears, it points to much happening beneath the surface. It heralds a time of subtle changes and influences. And certain circumstances, perhaps an emotional or mental trial. Wow. This could be a time in one's life when the darkest point is just before the dawn. Sensitivity and empathy run at an all-time high. It's a dream-like period of time which could easily transgress into a nightmare if one is not vigilant in how they manage their feelings. It could also point to being deceived or lied to by someone close and the confusion that arises as a result. For some, this may be just the opportunity needed in order to plumb to greater depths of the self and of the grand mystery. For others, it may be an eerie time of uncertainty and fear of what resides in the dark. In order to make the most of the moment, use the deep stirrings of the moon to move purposely and perhaps in the process produce magical, beautiful, and compelling works of art, poetry, or music. And I am a writer, so that's crazy. Find something to pour the powerful, mystical currents into, for the depths of this card are not meant to be contained. Like a tide of immense feeling, they're intended to flow. And then it says keywords: upright, creativity, mystery, depression, madness, escapism, and imagination. And reversed, mental clarity, dreams, truth, forgiveness, and intuition. And I feel like that was kind of what went down when I went and visited, went to my grandmother's funeral. It was kind of like like me forgiving my mother. A final forgiveness, because I've forgiven a lot of things, but I don't think I'd actually ever let it go. And when I did finally let it go at my grandmother's funeral, other things came out. So that's interesting, powerful. And then we have the world here, and this is just a quick little, this is a low Scarabaro deck, so it's got multiple languages. It's just got quick little blurb. The world description: a pregnant goddess stands at the place where the land and water meet. She is encircled by the phases of the moon. Essence: the world is the card of culmination and of reaching journey's end. Something is ready to be born. In a reading, you are nearing a significant conclusion. What you desired is now manifesting, and you can enjoy the harvest. Apply the final touches, attend to the details, and then step back to celebrate. For now, it belongs to the whole world. And that could be talking about my writing again. Wow. The card is calling you to create, and by that act of creation, to make the world in some way a more wonderful place. Wow. Do something that will feel fulfilling. Note the way the wind lifts her hair. That's interesting. So I feel like that was totally talking about my writing there, and that's another way we could be looking at this world card, as she's birthing this new thought process, this new idea, a new book. It could be me birthing new things. So I found that very fascinating. It actually goes quite well with my month of March. Yeah, that's crazy though. My head hurts. I've gone through that so much. So yeah, that is my March cards of the month for the month of March of 2022. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.